Joanna Small, the Public Information Officer for the Wheat Ridge Police Department. It's Friday, May 5th, and this is your WRPD Video Week in Review. Here's a summary of some of the most notable calls your Wheat Ridge patrol officers responded to over this past week, as well as a couple of cases detectives could really use your help in resolving. On May 3rd, officers were called to an in-progress assault in the 4300 block of Jellison. The reporting party told dispatch his mother was being beaten up by her neighbors. He also provided a description of the suspects in the attack. When officers arrived at the address, they found the mother was in fact fine, and she told officers her son had falsely called 911. He had left the residence, but officers located him nearby and placed him into custody. He is now facing charges for false reporting, as well as possession of a controlled substance, as he had methamphetamine on his person. On May 2nd, an individual was contacted as an unwanted party in the 3900 block of Sim Street. He was found to have a felony parole violation warrant and was taken into custody. A search incident to arrest revealed that the suspect was in possession of a controlled substance as well as paraphernalia which violated a protection order. He is now facing charges for all of those new offenses and was jailed on those as well as that outstanding warrant. Also, on May 2nd, officers were called to a burglary in progress in the 6500 block of West 46th Place. A suspect ran past the homeowner who was standing in his own garage and illegally entered the home. He tore up bedding, then went out a second-story window onto the roof, damaging the gutter when he jumped to the ground. WRPD officers caught and arrested him. He's now facing second-degree burglary charges. On May 1st, a WRPD patrol officer was proactively policing in the 9900 block of West 49th Avenue around our city's motels. He contacted an individual in the parking lot there who was in possession of fentanyl and learned the suspect also had a warrant for failure to appear on a possession of a controlled substance charge. He was issued a summons for that new drug charge, and he was transported to jail for the warrant. Also on May 1st, officers responded to 47th Place and Flower for a car accident that allegedly involved an extremely intoxicated driver. When they arrived, they found the driver had rear-ended an occupied parked vehicle and was suspected DUI. She was unable to stand and was transported to the hospital after refusing sobriety tests. Fortunately, no one was injured. She's facing DUI, property damage, crash, careless driving, and no proof of insurance charges. On April 29th, officers responded to a business in the 3900 block of Wadsworth for a disturbance. The suspect had become upset at the manager of the business, claiming he'd been treated unfairly. To retaliate, he refused to leave, took a nap on a table inside the restaurant, and then urinated on the building. He was found to have a warrant for his arrest, so he was jailed on that warrant, issued a trespassing citation, and now also faces charges for public indecency. Also on April 29th, Officer Longson was flagged down by a motorist near West 44th Avenue and Field Street. The driver's female passenger had cut her arm from wrist to elbow and was bleeding profusely. Using his medical training, Officer Longson successfully applied a tourniquet and then called for assistance from EMTs and paramedics to transport the woman to the hospital for further treatment. His actions very likely prevented further injury. Well done, Officer Longson. And again on April 29th, an observant WRPD patrol officer located a vehicle stolen out of New Mexico in an apartment complex parking lot in the 9600 block of West 51st Place. The person listed as a suspect in that theft was walking towards the vehicle when he spotted our officer and fled on foot. He was apprehended quickly, and a search incident to arrest revealed he had 2 credit cards and other people's names on his person. He is now facing aggravated motor vehicle theft, criminal possession of a financial transaction device, and obstruction charges. Still, on April 29th, WRPD officers assisted the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office with a perimeter for a motor vehicle theft suspect who had crashed a stolen car, fled on foot, and barricaded himself inside someone else's home in the area of West 32nd Avenue and Beach Street. We are always happy to help our neighboring agencies when they need our assistance. On April 28th, officers were called to an apartment for a welfare check and discovered the person had a felony warrant for his arrest. He attempted to fight with officers when we took him into custody, so he was first transported to the hospital to be medically cleared for jail. Once he was successfully discharged, he kicked an officer in the face several times. He's now facing second-degree assault charges and is also jailed on that warrant. We also highlighted an incident as a standalone post this week on our social media pages. A patrol officer contacted a pedestrian who was dangerously weaving in and out of traffic on Kipling. When asked if he had anything on him he shouldn't, he admitted to having a sawed-off shotgun in his backpack. Officers confiscated the gun, and the suspect is now facing possession of a dangerous weapon charges. Now here's a case which resulted in a high-dollar theft that detectives could really use your eyes on, so please pay attention. On April 29th, officers were called to a construction area of the new Lutheran Medical Center facility. Someone had stolen between $10,000 and $15,000 worth of copper and the crime was captured on surveillance camera. Although it's difficult to make out the suspects' faces, if you know them, there really is a chance you may recognize them. So if you believe you do, or have any other information about this crime, which occurred overnight on the 28th, please reach out to our investigative team at the number that's listed there on your screen. And as always, in between your calls for service, officers proactively patrolled areas in the city we know to be higher in crime, contacting people for less serious offenses like trespassing and jaywalking, then often making arrests for warrants, drugs, and/or drug paraphernalia. Officers also focused on dangerous driving behavior on streets where you've told us you see it and we ourselves have witnessed it. Excluding our crash and traffic team, which focuses heavily on speeders in school zones, patrol officers alone also issued approximately 50 traffic citations. We also recovered 3 stolen vehicles, to include the one mentioned earlier in this report. That's all for now. We'll see you next time, and remember, if you need us, we're always just minutes away.